Hello and very dear students, my audience internationally and nationally, very warm welcome to Dr. Ahmed YouTube channel. As promised already, four parts of the poem Reflection by Toufique Rafat have been done. Now this today is the fifth part of the poem. It's most fascinating poem, and its fifth part is equally fascinating because here the poet tries to compare the production of poetry, that is poem, with some statue, as the statues most of the time are made up of the stone. So that is why he says that if the stone is permanent, then definitely poetry is also permanent. But he himself rejects the idea by saying that even these statues sometimes are broken with the passage of time, so the statues possibly can go out. But he claims that if the poetry lives in the hearts of the people, then the statue of poetry will never break out. Let us enter into the poem and see ourselves what is the wish of the poet to see. So here is the part 5 of the poem Reflection by Tawfiq Rafat. He starts by saying, a poem is a monument sculptured in words. Very, very beautiful start, actually. A symbol or the image of sculpture has been used here, but this is the sculpture of words, not that of the stone. However, we can understand that as the sculpture made up of the stone is powerful, is strong, and is long lasting, same is the case with the poem. That a poem, if it is well constructed, it is a monument of sculpture, it is the kind of stone structure which will last very long. So, very appropriate comparison, very appropriate symbol given to the final production of the words which are united together in the shape of the poem with the skill of the poet. And he says, why is he saying this? He says, it will last as long as the stone will last of the soldier, it will last as long as the stone will last of the soldier who guards our crossroads bravely. Now, this is something which is really significant why the poet is saying so. He says that if his poem is like the stone structure, it will be continuously present everywhere as the stone structures mostly are present. And that is why he says that it will last as long as the stone will last for the soldier who guards our crossroads bravely. Now, he extends one step further by saying that he's not simply talking about the stone structure, he is talking like the stone structure of a soldier. And as these structures of the soldiers last very long in the same way, this poem will be lasting very long. And he says, who guards our crossroads bravely? It means that the soldier, the sculpture of the soldier is standing there, is all the time present. It does not move away from that place. It continues to perform its duty. Same will be the case with the poem, that whatever the people are meeting, coming across, going and coming, and whatever the situation is happening, this soldier, this sculptured soldier, this powerful poem will continue to exist. So, in that way, the permanence and the influencing of the poem has been suggested by the poet. That okay, it's okay that it will be for some time present there, but till the time it is present, it will continue to powerfully influence the people as the stone structure of the soldier who guards our crossroads bravely is present and influences the people. Same would be the case with the beautiful poem. But then, new aspect he begins and says that this is something very important here to talk about. He says, meanwhile, it accumulates fungus and the city crows. The slum children chalk their stumps on its base. So this is what he says can happen with the same structure of the soldier, which is a stone structure, which is a sculpture. He says it can happen that with the passage of time, fungus can grow on it, and the city crows can come and sit on it. And there could be a possibility that some children who are poor children cannot buy the stumps of the cricket. They would come and chalk their stumps on it, and as a result, its real shape will be distorted. Now, here this thing reminds me of Pope Alexander Pope in his poem, for example, Rape of the Lock, he says that the things which are saved by sword or by power, they are destroyed because of the time, and ultimately everything is destroyed. Same is the case with Ozymandias, the poem by Shelley. There also, Shelley claims that whatever is saved can be destroyed with the passage of time. Same clue is being taken by the poet. So, in a way, the poet is trying to explain the power of his poem by letting us know as the sculpture can be overpowered by certain things like fungus, like city crows, like boys of the city, or that of the poor places. In the same way, the poem can be having or experiencing its staleness sometime, but it will continue to survive. It will be there. And as the benefit somehow, or some type of benefit goes to the fungus also, some benefit goes to the city crows also, some benefit goes to the children also, in the same way, the benefit of this poem will continue to go, whatever the shape it may be, whatever the style it may be. And then the poet says that, and quietly prepares for the day when crossroads statue all will be gone. This is something, very important here. According to him, once again, he repeats something and says that if everything has to finish, the statue will also finish, the crossroads will also finish, the human beings who pass from these places, they will also finish. So finishing and going towards the end is not something abnormal. So same thing can happen with his poem as well. So that is why the poet's philosophy has become very important here, when he is suggesting that everything has to go with the passage of time, but poem will definitely go when we compare it with the type of statue or sculptured stone structure, as the stone structures which are stronger, even then they break and go away. So possibility is that the poem will also go away. But then if we consider that the poem is not a stone structure, it is the place of the hearts of the people. It is the place where, the poet lives. It is the place where the beauty of the poetry lives, beauty of the poem lives, or the message of the poem lives. If it transfers itself from heart to heart, then surely it will continue to survive. It means that stone structures may be destroyed, but the softness, the beauty, the love spread by the poet and the poem will survive. So that is what the poet is trying to highlight. Let us see how does he close his poem by sending us the same message. The poet says, okay, let's go forward and say, not the knuckle of a word or the hangnail of a phrase remains. So according to him, it's a possibility that nothing of the poetry, nothing of the poem remains if this poem is like a statue. For example, no knuckle remains, no hangnail remains, and then what remains, that the poet is coming forward to let us know. He says, line by line it will molder away as the feeling molders that pressured into being the vertical line between the eyes. He says, if you look at the stone structure, you can see that the limbs are going, the knuckles are going, hang nails are going, and line by line, in the same way, the poetry can also go away. And we have the feeling of the molders, of the changes, and these changes can be experienced in our in the center of our eyes, not in the center of the eyes, but in between the two eyes. The center is there. That is the nose line. One can say that's the vertical line between the eyes. He says, first of all, the strong feelings bring these impressions on that place of the nose, but with the passage of time, all these things possibilities that they may disappear. And what comes then? He says, will there be no proof then of our cunning then? The poet puts a question. The question mark is there, that if it has to disappear, it has to go away like this, as he is saying. He says, then is it a possibility that everything would be destroyed? Will there be not some proofs of the cleverness, of the intelligence, of the skills of the poet? Will it not survive? He says and answers himself, skill survives through the edifice falls. For others have noted how the sunlight glinted on its arch. I mean, even if the stone structure of the statue is destroyed, the skill of the maker would be there. Here we can take the example of pyramids of Egypt. Though they are destroyed, they are not no more available in the original shape, or they are still under annihilation. But the skill we still remember. Who was there? We ask a question. Who was there? Who was able to build such a strong structure on the land of Egypt? Similarly, the poet says that at least the skill would survive. Some shine would survive. Some arch of the statue would survive, and when the people would look at that, they would say the skill was there. In the same way, if any part of the poem survives, if any person reads that poem, if the poem is found out in any book in the library, the skill of the poet would be highlighted. So here, the skill which the poet has used in creation of that poem is becoming important, and he says that it will be reminded by everybody, and people will know that it is there. Essential goodness, whose headstone lies in the heart, survives because its marble has no veins. The end of the poem also suggestive of the same thing. He says that if you have a heart in which softness is present, poetry will be present, and that poetry will change you, and as a result, generation after generations, the same message would fly, would come to the next generation. As a result, the poet would survive. As a result, the poem would survive. As a result, the message of the poem would survive. As a result, the skill of the poet would survive. As a result, the change, the influence which this poem is causing, that would survive. But if it has to live in the hearts, it means that according to the poet, whatever the poem structures you make, even if it is as strong as the stone structure, it may not survive with the passage of time. But yes, it can survive if it is surviving in the hearts of the people. So conquering of the hearts of the people is the major point that poet is making, that you should write such a poetry, such a poem which conquers the hearts of the people. So very beautifully utilize the marble stone structure as a symbol, as an image, and compared it with the destruction the time can bring, but the same destruction cannot be brought by the time on the poetry if it is good, if it lives in the hearts of the people. So that was the message of the part 5 of this poem Reflections by Toufique Rafat. Hope to see you in the next part 6 as well. So till that time, it's the time to say goodbye. But do not forget to hit the like button or the subscribe button and to give your comments on this explanation if you have understood anything out of that. So see you till that time. Keep happy, keep strong. That's it from me.